Now, today is a very important day, and we should be very attentive. Of course, our weekly candlestick is not getting closed. It's not that interesting, not that important. What is important is our monthly that is coming to an end. Basically, will be closed and locked within 6 hours and 34 minutes. Right? You can see the difference 4 days to 7 and 7 hours. This, on the other hand, will be locked in 6 hours. We have our quarterly that is about to get locked as such. We have our half year candlestick that is about to get locked as such. So let's look at them for a second. Why are they so interesting? First of all, we can already identify and understand that probably what is gonna get locked today, unless we are forecasting some phenomenal price action, this is probably going to get locked as is. As we're seeing, we're currently at resistance at these levels, roughly around the 62 handle, which is slightly above all-time high, creating a new all-time high. Now, still is very indicative of very weak momentum. In fact, if we look right here on our stochastic RSI, we will see that our momentum has basically been reaching the top for a while now, and now we're completely squeezed out, which is very indicative and very normal before a turnaround, before the momentum switches over and becomes bearish, such as it did before right here. Another very interesting indicative thing right here on the monthly. As we can identify, we're perfectly sitting right here at resistance and are unable to break out, so more so moving sideways rather than moving upwards, right? It is very kind of different direction, very different slope. We can literally see that the slope and the direction is very different. We still do have that very suspicious and very worrying area of the golden pocket that is right above us at roughly, let's call it 6,500, because 6,491 is basically 6,500, 6,400. So we have a whole range of about $100 right here, $100 worth of movement, if you will, that may be a bit problematic. But well, let's look at momentum. Let's look at how the structure is looking like. If the structure was moving upwards this way, and now it's no longer is. Now the slope is different and appears to be, although we have, of course, this all this noise inside, the slope still appears to be turning around, at least temporarily so. Let's look at the quarterly. As we understand that the quarterly will be getting locked as today for today is going to be getting locked and kind of going to be staying as is, probably, unless again we're forecasting some phenomenal price action that will break these all these molds, if you will, or structures. What we're identifying here, pardon me, 1 second. We can see here is also very much loss of momentum and this almost convergence kind of structure right here below the 80. Although we are not seeing current resistance right here, I can promise you there is another diagonal resistance that I currently don't have on the screen. It is basically parallel with these two. It's just kind of more of a median, more of a central kind of area that is located right there. Kind of, if you can see and identify, it is literally located in the center, and so that slope is the actual resistance that is playing out, and the price action appears to be moving, like we said, from a very distinctive upwards slope to more of a sideways slope, and it is very slow. So since we're locking all these candlesticks today, and as you can see, in fact, for example, on the half year, you can see the literal gradual sort of loss of momentum and how big this candlestick is to how much smaller this is. And this one is just an abnormality. As much as an abnormality it is, we can identify that the momentum is tugging to the lower end of things rather than to the higher end of things, basically, where it appears to be like the momentum is tugging downwards far more than it is upwards. Although it is fascinating how on the half year we basically were able to go all the way to the center of that channel, as if you were kind of spending a lot more momentum than expected, and actually allowing us to create this sort of structure which will overturn as soon as we're going to spill over with all our bearish momentum that is basically in the system, in the barrel, if you will, all that downward slope that we've been building up all along. Again, sort of teetering on the edge of the resistances right here and moving on from a slope that is very distinctively sharp up and quick upwards to a slope that is downwards, and in fact tugging us to the lower end of things rather than to the higher end of things. That is it, boys and girls. I thought this is very, very necessary to be, to bring everybody up to speed. Those who know we are a sort of data-driven analysis community, okay, where we're not just guessing and relying on gut feelings and I think I feel like. We're actually relying on data, raw details, right? So data-driven analysis, there you go, right there. Join the community. You will be able to do that only for if you do use the annual payment on the Patreon. By the way, it is patreon.com/investory, right? If you do pay and subscribe for the annual, it is $24 a month. If you do subscribe for the annual on the advanced tier, that is only $48 instead of $60. What does that grant you? First of all, access to the Discord, which is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm not going to bring it up right now. Of course, you should join and see. We have plenty of members, 24 hours there, talking about all topics of the market, ranging from individual assets to the indices to even options, you name it. And of course, we have meetings and special videos that I make if it's ad-free content, if it's the meetings, if it's various lectures and all sorts of cool stuff that is up and coming. I've been a little bit on the lower end of doing things simply because I've been half-ass on vacation, but I'm coming back soon, and as you can see, I'm still making videos and all that beautiful stuff. So, all right, hope to see you in the community or on the next video. Bye for now. Don't forget to smash the like and subscribe and ring the bell for the notifications. Bye bye.